Hello, my name's Sylvester McCoy. Welcome to the legend of the Traveling Tardis.
Welcome to the legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Paparazzo Dave Chapman, and we've got a very special guest who you can already see on screen. We normally would have soloed me here, but you know what? We love our Sylvester, so we've got the amazing Sylvester McCoy here with us to talk about all sorts of stuff he's been up to. I'm going to be taking the lead here. Christian's kind of just getting over a bit of a sickness, so he's over on the other side of the screen. Below me, we've got Dan, aka Dialect Hal. We've got, of course, Melanie Dean down in the middle, and Jessica Womack over on the far side. We don't have Sylvester for all that too much time, so we'll skip all the usual hi everybody intros and jump right into hello Sylvester.
Hello. Lovely to be here.
Hello, Sylvester.
We are so happy that you were able to make it today. So you've been busy lately.
Yes, I have actually. I've been very busy. I keep forgetting what age I am. I think I'm half my age, and I've been doing the work of half my age.
Yeah. Well, the rest of us think you're half your age too. You don't look a day over 400.
I didn't catch that bit because I was beginning to speak.
Oh, terribly sorry. I said you don't look a day over 400.
Well, I mean, yeah, my doctor was, 950. So that is about half my age.
You don't look a day over 953. So there you go. If anybody knows that reference.
So yeah, no, we got a list of all sorts of stuff. First of all, of course, you are going to be appearing in Florida. So for our Florida crowd, including everybody other than me in this chat, in this interview, you're going to be at Gods and Monsters this weekend.
Indeed, yes. Was it 1,300 hours to 1,600 hours on Saturday?
Military time, yeah. And just in case for those of you on the East Coast, that was military time. Sylvester is going to be at Gods and Monsters off of International Drive on the 21st of this Saturday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can check him out. You just show up over there. Of course, it's going to be first come, first serve, but Sylvester will be doing signings over there as well. Can you tell us what you're going to be doing over there, Sylvester? Did they let you know what's going on?
Well, no, I'm going to get a pen and I'm going to get some paper and I'm going to go, Sylvester McCoy loves you.
That seems like a reasonable thing. And then a little 7 in the swirly.
2 hearts,
It's the most honest interpretation I've ever heard of somebody talk about when they're at a convention out there. So glad you're on out there. Go ahead.
No, I know a lot of actors will be bringing their own headshots and whatnot. Are you open to sign, like if somebody brings a collectible or their own personal thing?
I'll sign anything. I once signed something which was rather rude, but when it was at rest, it was Sylv. But when it got excited, it said Sylvester.
Oh my.
And Mike in the chat says, hello, Sylvester, you were my doctor. So, and I think we speak for everybody that you were my doctor. Yeah, MB 953 was the first episode of Sylvester's show, Time in the Ronnie, if you remember that out there. Sylvester, it's been so long, the 60th anniversary. How are you celebrating?
Well, I'm delighted I'm still alive. 60th anniversary, yes. Well, sadly, we're not in it. So I'll be watching it and thinking, I should be in there.
Oh no! So they didn't bring you in, or are you just throwing us off out there that something's going to happen, but we just don't know it yet?
It's called acting.
That's true.
You can't accuse me of that.
Oh,
please.
okay.
How dare you? No, no, we're not going to be in the 60th anniversary one, sadly. I'd like to be it because I think Shooty is going to be in it. What's interesting is Paul McGann phoned me up and said to me, "Hey, Sylvester, you know Shooty is Scottish." And I said, "Oh, right. Oh, well, Paul, Scotland 4, Liverpool 2.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Who's the other Liverpudlian?
Gotcha there. And look, Liz is up at 3 a.m. in Australia just to see you here.
Who was the other Liverpudlian?
What's that?
I don't know.
Who was the other Liverpudlian?
That's no Google's best friend.
Paul McGann was one.
I say
A
Paul.
very tall one with a very long scarf.
Are you
Tom
talking
Baker?
Baker?
Oh.
I didn't know he was
Yes,
from
Tom Baker's
Liverpool.
a Liverpudlian.
Oh,
He was once a Liverpudlian monk.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, he would join the monastery, and it wasn't for him. He also worked on the construction site. Oh, there, Mike. Mike is already shouting out the answer. Tom Baker. right
Uh-huh.
there.
Love it.
So is this a constant battle of like how many Scots can we get to be the Doctor versus
Well, I mean, the thing is, in British literature,
is it a secret?
A lot of the in British literature, there are always a Scottish doctor. Now, the reason for that is historical because Edinburgh was one of the great, and still is one of the great medical schools in the world, and so Scotland produced many doctors, and so they ended up also in literature. So now it seems right that the doctor should be Scottish because most
That makes
doctors
sense.
in literature are. Someone once said to me, what they're looking forward to now is seeing the 4 doctors, i.e. the 4 Scottish doctors. Hello there, Timmy, you're right. Hello there, doctor, I'm fine. Oh, aye. What's to do? Let's go down to that wee planet. And we'll take on, look, come on there, Timmy, we'll take on those Daleks. Give them a poof, poof. Give them a glass of kiss.
I'd
If
watch
that's
it.
not a charity sketch, I don't know what is.
If you send $5.
well,
They're gonna be
sadly,
sending
you
you-
have.
That sounds like
David
a red
Tennant.
nose day.
Yeah.
Have I got a red nose?
No, a red nose day skit of having the Scottish doctors all together and
Yeah,
with
tell them to do that.
yeah. We should get that. Yeah, we'll get on the phone.
Yeah.
Jim Barr says, Sylvester, what was the best enjoying moment that you played during the Doctor Who series? What was your favorite moment out there, my friend?
My favorite moment. Well, I think my favorite moment was in Remembrance of the Daleks. Because the Remembrance of the Daleks was about race. Because in Britain at that time there were
There is a
race
Dalek.
problems. Thank God now we are one of the most the best. It's not great, but brilliant, but it's good. Integrated countries, especially London, a great integrated city. But in those days there was a problem, so we wanted to confront that. And there's a beautiful scene where I'm talking to the cafe owner about sugar and dropping sugar into the tea and the rippling waves of that and racism and sugar and kind of slavery.
Right.
That was written by Dan Oranovich, and it was a beautiful scene. That's my favorite scene.
It was too, and he just says life's like that. Might as well just get on with it. And then I just thought that was just a very great scene of yours out there. But speaking of Daleks, I'm going to introduce you, Sylvester, to Dan, who we're hoping.
Is he a Dalek? Hello, Dan the Dalek.
Dan,
Behind me is.
Dan owns
Behind
Dalek.
Behind you, look out.
my name is being called. Cutting out.
That is Dan, and Dan owns and operates.
Okay.
We can hear you just
Dan,
fine. Go
your
ahead.
mic's gone out.
Dan's running off his cell phone because he's having issues, but that's Dalek Hal right behind him, and he's on a trailer.
Is that a heavy metal Dalek? I can't quite see it properly. Because I used to call the
It is
heavy
an
metal
actual
Dalek,
Dalek,
the
and
one
he
in
is full
mine.
size and works.
I used to call it Rambo Dalek.
Rambo Dalek?
Well, Rambo was on at the time, and it was heavy metal Dalek. They all fitted really, and it was like he spoke,
It sounds rather drunk. But yeah, that's a full working Dalek that Dan has, and he's called Dalek Hal. He can actually light up, he can talk, he can move, and he can actually, just recently, he can fire. So
I am interesting to meet a Dalek in America, but I was on the Trans-Siberian Express through Russia, and I got to Serbia, and in the middle of Russia anyway, and it was I got off the train to stretch my legs, and there I was met by a Dalek in Russia, which was quite astonishing, really. When it said exterminate, it sounded very gentle, which seemed very odd. I thought it'd be worse.
I got Nick Lenz. I think this is the first time here I'm seeing him. I reviewed Doctor Who for my YouTube channel for my first episode. I reviewed the first story of Sylvester's second season. Love this story. So, and yes, that would be, Liz says it would be great to see 4 Scottish doctors. We definitely need a translator.
Indeed.
So besides the Dan is having all sorts of technical problems today.
Yeah. Well, at least I got to see Dan.
Exactly. Besides the 60th and of course Gods and Monsters, you've got a couple of other projects you just finished filming as well. I know Jess was really excited about the one. Jess, what was the one you were excited about?
You can't remember, can you?
I mean, there was a bunch I was excited about.
Brown?
Well, this is true. I meant Banana Side specifically, but
yeah, Father Brown and Banana Side sound amazing. Yeah,
I'm with Jess that I'm very excited to see your appearance in Kembleford in Father Brown. Do you have any idea when we can expect actually to see this performance?
I think they're coming out in Britain in January. I think. Okay. Yeah.
So we can expect him in like 2 years.
I know.
We're far behind in our Father Brown, unfortunately.
But no, that's fantastic.
Yeah, the part was written for me.
Really?
Yeah, I had to do it because it was written for me, really. So I did it.
So I take it's not really a small piece. It's going to be you're featured for the entire episode.
I am quite a small piece at the moment. I'm shrinking.
Oh my!
Another age joke.
Is that an ageist remark?
A little bit. My grandmother kept shrinking as well. She was already 5 foot, so we can barely find her.
We all shrink.
Yeah.
Experience.
Liz,
gravity.
Liz asks, do you have a favorite moment from Silver Nemesis?
Silver Nemesis. Oh yes. The only problem is if you like that one, you might be able to tell me the name of the lady. We had this American actress who was in the West End at the time, and she was big. She's a wonderful American diva, Broadway singer, very famous. But his name slips my memory at the moment. Someone might tell me. Anyway, when she came down to film, they gave her kind of a facelift. So they put some sellotape here and a bit of wire and round here, and it gave her this lovely facelift for this. She was only doing this one scene, but it was a very warm day, and when we were filming, the heat, half her face fell, plonk, like that.
Oh God! So
they had to shoot the rest of it just from the side where the facelift still worked, which was really weird. That was a very memorable moment.
Oh my goodness.
And she was still able to enunciate and act through whatever makeup prosthetic they had.
I mean, the camera was on this side where the facelift was working, not this side. So I mean, her face was normally like that, so she could speak when her face was like that. But when it was like that, it didn't change her speaking. She could still do it.
Was it Dolores Gray?
Wow. Yes, Dolores Gray, the amazing, wonderful Dolores Gray. She was quite extraordinary. Another thing she did was, she had £250,000 worth of jewelry and a mink coat, and she wanted to wear them in the scene. So they got this guy to drive her down a big stretch limo, and it was his limo and all that, and he dressed up as the driver, as he would for a big star. He went to pick her up at the hotel. She came out, and he was in awe of this amazing woman, and she was bullying him. Put the camera, put the coat in the back. Look after it carefully. And he did all that, and he got in, and they drove all the way down to Arundel, which is a couple of a few hours away. Got there and realised that she'd left £250,000 worth of jewellery, uninsured, in a bag on the pavement outside the hotel.
Oh no!
All hell was like loose, and phone calls were made, and luckily the porter of the hotel came out, and he looked at this bag, which had very bad taste, and knew who it belonged to. So he put it in, and he saved it. So they sent it down on a motorbike, and eventually she ended up with all her jewelry and a mink coat, and half a facelift.
Oh, that is hilarious.
That's just I would be so afraid, one, for her to be, as you said, uninsured jewelry. So that's just sitting there. But then everybody else who's probably her either working as like her attaché and everything, now that's become your additional stressor on top of trying to get her where she needs to be in makeup and all that other stuff. Because now you got to go on a wild goose chase for this bag that's a sizable amount worth.
It all worked out in the end.
That's good.
Well, after we stopped filming, they fixed her facelift so that she could go back and do the show that night with a facelift. She was very happy.
And just a reminder for those of you just joining us, this is the wonderful Sylvester McCoy, better known as the Seventh Doctor in Doctor Who, also Radagast the Brown in those wonderful movies that you catch out over there. But just a reminder, Sylvester will be appearing at Gods and Monsters. This is located off of International Drive here in Orlando, Florida, Saturday, October 21st at from 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we just received word that he will be joined by Frazer Hines. And you guys did a movie together called Lost in Christmas, which we're still trying. Yeah, as you mentioned earlier when we were talking about that, you said we're still trying to find it. So I actually tweet the guy who worked on your movie. Tell us a little bit about that movie.
You actually wanted the guy, treated him.
Tweet him. We're Twitter friends, but he was telling me we were going to discuss more, and we lost contact. Yes, tweet or X or whatever the heck they call it nowadays out there.
X, I don't know. Tweet.
Exactly.
Just whistle.
It's full of bird poo. Yes. Yes, it was a film that we made in Glencoe. Glencoe has got a horrible history, really. It's a place where the McDonald's, I suppose, the ancestors of the people who made hamburgers in America, they welcomed in the Argyll, the Duke of Argyll, the Campbells. They had been sent to collect a letter that they all the clans had to write to say that they would be loyal to the new King of England, who I think was a German or something like that. Anyway, they had sent the letter, but because it was difficult to get it to Edinburgh in time, it hadn't gotten time. So the message went out to go and punish the Campbells, the McDonald's. So they arrived, and of course, in the Highlands they were very welcoming. So they partied for 3 days, and I think they slept with their daughters, and all that kind of stuff went on. And then one night, in the middle of the night, the Campbells got up and massacred all the McDonald's. And so there's a gloom about that place. But we were lucky because we did this film, and it was being sponsored by a whiskey company. So it was quite easy to get rid of the gloom.
Oh, God.
Drink it away.
That's one way to do it.
Gotcha out there.
I do have a question regarding something you just had done before this little story about bird calling. So when did you learn to whistle, and how long have you, because I've seen this, like the little bits, like when you were doing The Hobbit, and that you would just these amazing calls. I'm like, how did you learn how to? It's always fascinating to me how people can do that.
I think when I was very young, I ate some bird seed when I was a baby. And then something.
Is that how it's?
I don't know. I just did it. It came out. I could do it. I mean, I used to try and stand on top of the table and try and fly.
Oh no!
Who hasn't done that though?
That was the same man who put ferrets down his pants. So I'm just. We got a question from Nick Sylvester. I've heard you were casted as the Doctor through a screening process. Was that requested by the BBC, and is that true?
Well, I had to do a screen test, yes, and it was the powers that be above. Because I'd worked a lot at the BBC, but in children's television. And so they thought that maybe I didn't have the seriousness to be able to do Doctor Who. I mean, Doctor Who is also a mixture of light and dark.
Mm-hmm.
And so they wrote this scene, and it was me taking on Margaret Thatcher, and I won.
Oh.
What? Well, that's how everything started.
Oh, there we go.
I got controls. I got controls, brother.
Okay.
I'll take it. There you go.
Bring our guest back. How dare
that was just weird. Sorry, technical things happen along the way. I didn't do it.
You're not the only thing it's ill.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, you were bringing up the banana side. Is that the Jack Allen film group that's doing the? Because that was banana side, fine, which is very fascinating.
You keep breaking up, but yes,
Oh no!
I mean, the banana side is I play this eccentric botanist who wants to get the information directly from a tomato, for the tomato to actually let him know whether the tomato thinks it's a fruit or a vegetable.
That is brilliant.
But then there might be, it might not. Revenge is taken against me by fruit, and of course it's a banana.
Ah.
But we don't know. I mean, you have to watch it, really.
Is it an animated feature or is this live action?
Live action, I think. There will be stuff like, I mean, the banana wasn't there when I was working. It was in its trailer, and it refused to come out because it hadn't been given all it wanted in the trailer.
Oh, okay.
But so I had to work without the banana.
Oh, they didn't finish the
Bananas
everything
can be,
in
slippery creatures.
Yeah.
So, Mike
but it
asked
looked
if you were in the Hobbit.
absolutely hilarious. It looked so funny because it's a short film. No, I went on and I saw the short. No, it says it was wrapping up filming this year, so it's not completed. But from what I read of the synopsis and my cat and the synopsis, and then they also had like a little teaser trailer type thing, which actually made it look like a scary film, and I was like, oh, is this going to be like a weird, like a horror film? But it also it looked so fascinating, like it was almost like a very like early 90s detective vibe with the way it was shot, which it looks so brilliant, and I never would have heard about it, and I'm really excited to see it whenever it does come out. So it looks fascinating.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Question from Jim Barr. Over. Hello?
Oh, sure. Yeah, Jim Barr. There you go.
Yeah, was there an episode you worked on was thrown out? Well, there was a kind of in Dragonfire, that was it, the one that was set in ice. There's a scene where I climb over and hang on to a cliff, and in Britain we did them episodic, so there always was a cliffhanger every Saturday at the end of the half hour. And so I thought, let's literally do a cliffhanger. Physically, we'll do a cliffhanger. And I hang off the cliff. Now, there was a reason why we did it. There was a logical reason at the time. But when they put it out, because I think John Nathan Turner kept trying to, that was a three-parter, and he always had to try and make too much stuff so he could maybe top them into it, allowing it to be a four-parter. But they wouldn't allow it, so they cut that bit. And to this day, we've no idea why I was hanging off a cliff.
But the point is you were, and that was a good thing.
And I think I think you're the only person who could actually say there was a cliffhanger and it was literally hanging off a cliff out there.
Cliffhanger.
Well, actually, I have a follow-up question to that. So if he was writing so much stuff to try to coax a fourth episode out, and then, of course, they're saying no budget, whatever, did he just cull things out of the script, or was this something where the pacing had to become faster to get through all of this this information?
No, we didn't have to act faster. Can you imagine? Okay, come on, Dialect. I'm going to act faster. Oh, come on, Dialect. Come on, Dialect. Oh, Dialect. Examine. Oh, no. No, it wasn't like that.
Oh, darn.
That
Get them all
amazing.
out there. Sylvester, you are coming out, since I know you're on a tight schedule, you're coming out with a film yourself. And I believe that's coming out next year, if Claire told me right, that you are filming a film. They just recently announced it as a documentary about your time on Doctor Who, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, it's a biography, really, autobiography. Only I'm talking it, really. It's a film.
You just watched.
We're getting a spoiler.
Me talking, but there will be bits of my career and my life and times in it. Really, yeah, that's the idea. It's the start at the beginning of my life, and it comes up to now. I won't say the end of my life. I'll just say now. Oh, then it'll be next year when it comes out, because we've recorded bits of it and we're now editing it, and then they've got to get bits that they're going to stick in of me, bits of film and telly and theatre that I did, and put it in it.
I guess it wouldn't be Sylvester McCoy moment unless we've asked this question. Scenic says, Sylvester, do you still play the spoons? I would say yes.
Spoons? What are you talking about?
Those things. I know it. I was gonna... Dinner and a show. I like it. Hello there, RWRD.
Grasshopper. Grasshopper.
Liz has a question. How do you find working with green screens? And she says, love The Hobbit, which I'm answering Mike's question. Yes, you're looking at Radagast of the Brown.
Radagast the Brown. Yes, no, I didn't. Ian McKellen hated doing it. I mean, he loathed doing it. I didn't mind doing it because years before I was in an amazing children's television program that won all sorts of awards, Grand Prix de Jeunesse, the BAFTAs and everything, called Vision On. And when we were doing that, blue screen was invented for the first time. And the reason why it became green was they realized after a while that most people wore blue jeans and a lot of people had blue eyes. So they went for green. That's how it became green screen. So, and we in Vision On, we played with it and had great fun with it. So I quite enjoyed doing it. Yeah. And when we were doing it in New Zealand, we were in this room, small room, all green. And there were two men dressed up in green because they had me on a plinth high up on a rubberized top on a sledge. And they were filming it. And they wanted, these two green men were the ones who were making the sledge go up and down. So I was going up and down on the sledge and they were filming me. And then they had, everywhere was green. The floor was green and underneath it was padding. And the cameraman wanted to get a shot from down. So they said they moved a bit the floor and took away the padding, and that gave him more depth. So he got the shot he wanted. And then he put everything back. And then Andy Serkis, who was actually directing this scene, said to me, do a double take. And I did it. No, bigger. And I was hanging onto the sledge and I went, and then flew off. And I flew off and it was quite high. And I went flying off down onto the ground. They forgot to put the padding back.
Oh, no.
The bum hit the concrete. And then in slow motion, my head started to hit the concrete too. I felt it hit. I felt my brain moving. But luckily, I was in New Zealand, one of the great places for rugby. And there was a rugby player in the room, and he dived and caught my head like a rugby ball. Luckily, he didn't forget and then kick it. But anyway, so he saved me from getting my head done in.
He saved you from looking like Paul McGann 5 seconds later. So it's just like, that would be great. Speaking of which,
There's no harm in looking at Paul McGann.
There is no harm looking like Paul McGann. I hope I age well like Paul McGann. But speaking of aging well, I wanted to show you a couple pictures that from the Traveling TARDIS that I really appreciate. This one first. This one was taken over at the comic book store. What was it? I can't think of the name, Melanie. I think Comics.
Coliseum of Comics.
Coliseum of Comics, yeah, where you were there with a bunch of other Doctor Who alumni. But my favorite of all time, and I had the honor and privilege of doing this a long time ago. I don't know if you remember going to the Kennedy Space Center in NASA. And
Yeah.
I got this picture of you in front of Atlantis with a TARDIS and
with a spaceship. I was
with a spaceship. Yes, 2 spaceships, and commanding one of them. What was your experience like coming to Florida and seeing this for the first time?
Well, I mean, it was extraordinary because I also went to Houston as well.
Oh,
and, I met real spacemen. People who lived out in the the space shuttle and went up in the space shuttle and came back again and lived up there. And what was quite extraordinary and humbling and was that they were excited to meet me.
Mhm.
And I didn't even know I existed. But of course, they're into science fiction, because that's what's inspired them as children watching science fiction programs, and therefore they became the real McCoy and went up into space. And I was like, "You're real. You've been up there." I mean, I'm just a mere actor. So I was so proud and wonderful to meet them and have photographs taken with them. Yeah.
Sometimes it's the things that they see on TV which inspires the greatest things to happen in their lives. So that was most entertaining. Speaking of being geeked out, I tell this story of when I took you to NASA with all those friends out there with Simon Fisher Becker and Daphne Ashbrook and all of them. I don't know if you knew, but when we went to have lunch at the launch pad, you were standing down there and looking at the menu, and there were 2 girls who were looking at us together, and they were just. One of them beckoned me to come over, and they asked, they looked at me and go, "Christian," they asked for my name and said, "What's your name?" And I said, "Christian." And goes, "Is that who we think that is?" And I paused for a moment and go, "Yes, that's Jodie Whittaker," and walked away from the women out there. So there you
go. That must have been recently then. When was Jodie?
No, it's been quite a long time. It's been quite a while.
Jodie, she did 3 years, didn't she?
She did 3 years, but that was 5 years ago.
Well, that you must have been traveled back in time because she wasn't even Doctor Who then.
I think they may have just announced her when we.
Oh, maybe.
When they selected out there.
Liz Carroll has a good question in the comments if you want to bring that up, Christian.
I'm going for it. Did you have a favorite event from Survival?
Well, I suppose I had a notable moment. There was a moment in it where we were filming, and it was in the desert of Dorset, as I called it. It was a very huge sand pit, miles by miles in Dorset. And every time we filmed there, Survival and The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, we had a heat wave. It was over 100 degrees. It was incredibly hot. And so Survival was very hot. And the poor girls who were all dressed up as cat girls in fun fur. I mean, and there was no shade or anything. And one of them completely freaked out. She couldn't, and so she's kind of just, "I can't take this anymore, the heat." And she stripped off, and she went marching over the sand dunes. That was the last time we saw her. The only thing was she forgot. All she was wearing was a thong.
Oh my God!
It's done.
Quite memorable.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, very memorable.
Oh
yeah.
Heat stroke will do amazing things to you.
And if you are joining in, we are interviewing our friend over here, Sylvester McCoy, better known as the 7th Doctor, on the classic series of Doctor Who out there. And don't forget, if you haven't, for those of you just joining us who may be in the Central Florida area, Sylvester will appear at Gods and Monsters off of International Drive. And it will be taking place this Saturday, the 21st at 1 to 4 p.m. I don't think there's a price of admission, but according to, and I'm taking this from Sylvester, he'll sign everything. And we just got
bring
word.
Cash.
Bring lots of cash.
Bring lots of cash.
Because
give this man your money.
Definitely well worth it. And he will be joined by Frazer Hines, JAIMIE McCrimmon from the 2nd Doctor. When was the last time you were in Florida?
Can't remember.
Well, the great thing is, being in Orlando, you're right there in the middle of the state, so we should have people from Tampa coming over. Miami can come down up. Jacksonville can come down. Sylvester's here.
The last time I was there,
it
was February the 19th, because my son's birthday. It was sunny, but then suddenly there was one of those cold spells that came from the Arctic, and it came right down, and it was got very cold.
That polar vortex thing
Yeah.
that comes down.
It was
Yeah.
the time of the polar vortex, and I mean, when you were in the sunshine, it was all right. But as soon as you were into the shade, it was just really cold and very uncomfortable. That was the last time I was there. I mean, time. What is time? It's relative.
Exactly.
Cold.
I guess
I feel like even cold in Florida at that point is still better than Calgary or Edmonton.
Yes. But yeah, well, yes and no. I mean, in Calgary, you expect it. You don't expect it in Florida, so that makes it, in a way, more disappointing.
We've always had the joke here that the Calgary Expo was always the last snow of the year, almost every year. I don't think it snowed the year you were there, but
no, I don't remember it being there.
Yeah,
it was one of the first times I'd been to a city where you have all these connections between buildings, you know.
Oh yeah. The pedways and the tunnels,
yeah, the walkways and all that. And I hadn't come across that. And I went out one day and I thought, there's nobody in this city. It's empty. I was wandering around looking for people. There was the odd bum here and the odd bum there, and there was me. That was 3 bums.
Andrew Morris has a quick
they were
question.
All upstairs, walking about upstairs in the warmth.
He asks, who came up with the banter between you and Paul McGann with the fancy robes in the Jodie episode? And he also says, I've been supporting Amicus. I'm not familiar with that. Amicus Films with their comeback, and would you be up for a part in a new Amicus horror movie?
Well, who are Amicus? Sorry, I mean,
I'm not.
Loads of people.
I'm not exactly sure out there, but he was just asking.
Say yes, yeah, whatever, yeah. Oh well, the writing of that was written. The script was written like that, but bizarrely, we never all got together in the studio. Paul wasn't there when I said that line. Also, when the scene between Ace and I was also, she wasn't there, or let's say I wasn't there when she filmed it. She filmed it first.
Oh.
Well, she didn't notice the difference between acting with me and the brick wall, so that was all right. But then when we did it in the studio, luckily Ace was hanging around and she wasn't in the scene, but she fed me the lines, so I had at least the luxury of being able to respond to her in that particular scene, which people seem to have loved a great deal.
Oh, very much so.
Liz asks, would you go back? Would you, if you were offered to, like William Shatner here, Captain Kirk, would you go into space?
Yes, I think I quite like to. You see, I do like traveling. I think
It's Craig.
It's difficult really because
Hi, Craig.
I think I quite like to go maybe to the moon, and whereas just going up on a ship and just to the edge of and looking down, I'm not sure if that's ecologically balanced. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe if we went and did something worthwhile on the moon or on the space capsule thing, you know. So a difficult one. I envied him for that, but I don't know if it's a good idea to send up a whole lot of damn silly actors.
Oh, okay. Amicus was responsible for making the Peter Cushing movies. Would you be up for it if they made a comeback? I would say yes. Work is always hard. And Liz says, what's the weather like normally in Florida? Right now it's cold. So what is it, 50 degrees? It finally dropped.
Can I answer that question?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
No. I mean, they're making Doctor Who. I mean, the kind of 2 companies making Doctor Who. Doctor Who wasn't being made then, I don't think, was it? Or was it? I can't remember.
These were the 2 movies.
I wasn't around. I mean, I was around, but I wasn't watching or interested in Doctor Who at the time. I was too busy acting. But no, I'd do a horror movie if they came back, but not Doctor Who.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I'd do Doctor Who for the BBC.
I got you.
Russell T Davies, the genius behind the revival.
No worries out there.
Yeah.
Now, did you just film another horror movie? From the title, it sounds like it, because we got to note that you just finished doing Dead Before They Wake.
I don't think it's a horror movie.
Isn't it?
It's kind of a serious movie, yeah.
Okay.
Kind of, murder mystery kind of thing.
Oh,
Okay.
Ah.
Yeah, all we
The
got was the title.
Monsters. I did the Monsters.
Doing a lot of mystery, like Father Brown and Banana Kiss, like a lot of mystery themes.
I did the Monsters.
mm-hmm. And Shirley actually has a question about that. That
Yeah,
she says
I mean,
that
that's a kind of a supposedly that was made by Rob Zombie,
Mhm.
who's a horror movie director, I believe.
Did she? Well, this is Shirley from the Pandorica restaurant, and she goes, "I thought Sylvester stole the monster movie as Igor." Gosh, now I'm thinking Young Frankenstein. Would he reprise that role if asked?
Yeah, yes, of course. No, it was enjoyable to do. I quite enjoyed playing him. It was very off the wall. Part of the reason was we filmed at night. Originally a year before they were going to make it, but then COVID came. So they'd chosen the set, the house that they were filming in for those scenes. But when we came back a year later, in the basement of the big building, they were digging it up. So we couldn't film in the daytime. So we filmed at night. And so, I mean, you arrive, you fly out, you got one day to readjust yourself to being in a new city, and then you start filming that night. And I was out of my head most of the time with tiredness. So if they were going to revive it, or if I was going to revive the character, they'd have to make me stay up all night, because that's the only way I could act it.
I think we'll make this the final question. This is coming from Zombie Box Reviews. I have a question for Sylvester. Who would you have loved to have been cast as a doctor? Who would you have been your favorite actor for that role? If
me.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming there.
there it is.
Yeah, and I agree. Andrew says your scene with Sophie in Power of the Doctor was such a wonderful gift, and I know we're gonna end it. I think did one more question pop in?
I have one more question.
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
good.
you go.
So speaking of Sophie, of course, she did the audiobook herself of her book at Childhood's End. She does a pretty darn good Sylvester McCoy in that. Did you get a chance to hear it? What did you think about her portrayal of you?
Well, I thought, wait a minute, what? I must have done that when I was sleeping. So I sent a bill in for the actor.
That's about right.
Good answer.
She was spot on.
And we'll make this the final question of the chats. Mike's asked, does Sylvester have a favorite Big Finish story? I love Master, which felt like it could have been an on-screen after Survival.
It's very difficult, Big Finish, because when you work on the television stories, you spend a lot of time with them. Big Finish, you get the script, you mark it up, you go in, you read it, you do 2 days, and then you go home. Half the time, a lot of the time because of COVID, and then since COVID, sadly, I believe, people are not always there. You know, there's you and this, I mean, during COVID, you used to be by yourself acting down the line. So it was all very difficult. You couldn't even visually see the other person, and I'm a visual person. I remember visual things more than I do kind of audio things. So I can't answer that question. I have no idea. I enjoy doing them while I'm doing them. I really love doing them, but I can't tell you which is my favorite. All of them, really. The last one, the next one.
I should be meaning to go. Who's your favorite companion? Just a reminder for everybody, if you're just catching in, Sylvester will be appearing at God and Monsters off of International Drive here in Orlando, Florida, this Saturday, October the 21st at 1 to 4 p.m. And he will be there with Frazer Hines. Have lots of money ready because you want to take care of this guy. You're bringing spoons, right? You're definitely going to be bringing spoons this weekend. And yeah, exactly. I would say first come, first served, get there as early as possible because we are expecting a big crowd for Sylvester and Frazer. And again, this is going to be off of International Drive, located, I think, was it just a little south of, it used to be the Artagon. Now I can't think of it. D-Res or something like that, that car place. But definitely check it out. We have all the information also in the links provided below. Sylvester, I'm going to give you the last thought on this. What would you like to say to everybody before you go?
Pray for peace.
I'll work with that. I like that.
Yes.
I like that. Pray for peace out there. Thank you so much, everybody. And again, don't forget to subscribe here at The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. I see some of you have already done it, so really appreciate that. And well, were you playing with your ceiling fan above your head? Is that what's going on?
That's what's holding me up.
Oh, okay.
If someone switch that off, I go, boom.
I thought it made you look positively angelic, like a halo. He's gone.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, no,
Completely
he's
switched
not.
off.
No, thank you. That was the last interview of Sylvester McCoy. Oh, he's really gone. He's absolutely gone. Okay, while Sylvester is recovering, don't forget to, everyone, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. That helps everything out there. And we can bring people, folks on here who have worked on the show, just like Sylvester, and make sure that you get a chance to talk with and share with them. You will see them out here at Gods and Monsters, 1 to 4 p.m. this Saturday. And thank you, Sylvester, so much for joining us. We can't wait for you to come back to talk about when we get closer. Claire and I are going to be talking about your documentary and promoting it out here in the States. So thank you so much, Sylvester. Thank you again. Appreciate it. Everybody have a great day. Please stay safe. And Tony, here we go. Take us out.